السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين، ونحن على ذلك من الشهداء. أما بعد، جزاكم الله خير my dear brothers and sisters. Inshallah, we're going to be continuing our series that we started a long time ago, which talks about fiqh of worshipping. And today we're going to be talking about the last episode within the section of zakah. Today we're going to be talking about a special, what we call in Islam, masarif az-zakah. Where do we give the zakat to? To whom do we give the zakat to? In Islam, brothers and sisters, it was clear that there are 8 types of people that we're supposed to be giving the zakah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have laid down for us these types of people in what? In where? In the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل فريضة من الله والله عليم حكيم. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah, he talks about whom we're supposed to be giving the zakat. And he talks about, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about 8 different types of people. Okay? So the very first people are what is al-fuqara. Al-fuqara, who are the fuqara? Are the extremely poor people who does not have the basic necessities that they need day to day. There is in Islam, some people differentiate or sometimes mix. Scholars have, some people, if you ask different scholars, they different. Sometimes they mix the word faqir with the word miskin, and sometimes people use it interchangeably. But what is the difference between faqir, poor, and miskin, which always we also we translate as poor? The faqir is the one who does not have his basic necessities that he would need day by day. So meaning he's like ma'doom. He does not have anything. Okay. Al miskin, someone who is in need, but he have a shelter, he have food, basic food. He have basic things that gets him day to day, but he's still in need. He's still in need. El faqir, no, we call him, he's ma'doom. He does not have anything. Okay. So these are the very first 2 types of people that we're opted to give the zakat to. The faqir, those who doesn't have the basic needs, and al miskin, those who have something small, but he's still in need. The third type of people, or we call al-amiluna alayha. Al-amiluna, those who spread the zakah, those who work to collect and spread the zakah. And these are sometimes, a lot of times, is encouraged for these type of people to work voluntarily. But what about if someone, this is his full-time job? What about if someone has full-time job to collect the sadaqat? Because that requires a lot of work. Collect the sadaqat and distribute them, and so it takes a lot of work. With that, I mean, in Islam there is not a basic percentage, but this is important for us to realize this, that you take what you need. You take what you need to live and cover your basic needs. Now, unfortunately, some people have abused this, especially in our times, where we see someone with, for instance, his salary is, he's al-amiluna alayha, his salary is $15,000 or $20,000, better than some doctors now. Allah al-musta'an. So this is not acceptable, obviously. But you take what you need, and you and you move forward. So this is the third type of people. The fourth type of people are what we call al-mu'allafati qulubuhum. Those who are not Muslim, but people who are weak Islam or new to Islam, and you want to get them closer to Islam. You give them zakah, so you get as a present, as a heart softener. You give them zakat so you can what? Bring them closer to Islam. And that's the fourth type of people. وفي الرقاب, those who are slaves and you want to free them from slavery. Okay, whether male or female, okay, a Muslim, and you want to free them from slave, you give zakat so you can free them. And alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And that shows that Islam encourages uh, to free people, to free people from slavery, and that's what Islam have done. Unfortunately, some Muslims يعني are spreading something anti this, but this is what Islam stands for. You know, a lot of times in Islam, when you want to get closer to Islam, when you want to get closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, it's encouraged for you to free a slave, to free a slave. Okay, and so this is the fifth type of people. والغارمون, those who are in debt. Let's say someone in debt, and he's in need of money. You give them what? You give them zakat so they could get them out of debt. Okay, and this is the debt not in committing sins. Like for instance, let's say someone is in debt because of lottery, because he gambled. No, you don't give this guy zakat because he got himself in haram. You know, so you don't give them debt. You don't give these people the zakat. You give the people who are like in debt, the legitimate debt. Okay. وفي سبيل الله, the seventh type of people who will fight in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who does not have their basic needs. And the last person, Ibn Sabil, those who are travelers, they travel from one place to another, and they're strangers, and they're in need of shelter or need of money. You give them money. And these are the eighth type of people that we're supposed to be giving the zakat to. Now, who are the people that we're not supposed to give the zakat to? Okay, there is few types. There are six types of people that we're not supposed to give the zakat to. Number one are whom? The rich people, rich and healthy and strong. Those who are able to work. Yeah, sometime now, and unfortunately, you see some people. Unfortunately, uh, uh, um, uh, they they they're by the traffic lights. A 20-year-old or a 50 or a 30-year-old who's healthy and strong, and they're begging. No, you don't give these people zakat. They're strong. They're strong and healthy. They could work. They could get up and work. These are, some of them. I'm not trying to label all of them, but some of them maybe legitimately are in need. But for the most part, if someone who's rich or someone who is strong, they're able to work, they're able to struggle. Islam does not encourage people to be lazy. Wallah, I'm poor, I don't have money. Let me just go around the neighborhood and beg people. No. Islam does not encourage that. Islam does not encourage laziness. Umar al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, one time, he entered into the masjid and he saw people, they said we're dedicating ourselves to worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're all going to stay in the masjid to worship him. He told them, no. He took the stick and started hitting them. His Islam does not encourage this. Go, yes, you want to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but does not that mean that you leave your family and leave and say I'm not going to work and be a monk. No, Islam does not encourage that. No, if you're strong, no charity for you. Unless now here the rules of exception. Someone, for instance, he's possibly strong and he's in deep trouble, and he might go to jail or something along those lines, then you might be able to help him. But generally speaking, people who are strong and people who are rich, you don't give them zakat. The second type of people is what? Al-kuffar, the disbelievers. Generally speaking, okay? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told the Muslimin that you take تؤخذ من أغنيائهم وترد إلى فقرائهم. You take from their rich and you give it to their poor. So meaning that, what does that mean? Meaning that Islam came to establish justice. Okay. Now, who are the kuffar that we're allowed to give zakat to? It's like what I just mentioned initially. مؤلفة قلوبهم. Those who are you want to soften their heart to Islam, you're allowed to give them zakah. Okay, but beyond that, we're not supposed to give zakat to the kuffar because the Muslims have a priority. Third, الفاسق المبتدع أو العاصي إلا إذا تاب. Now, we're not supposed to give zakah for those who are يعني عاصي, the people who commit sins, and those who are fasiq, meaning that they could possibly commit sins and encourage others to do it. Why Islam does not do that? Why Islam doesn't do that, brothers and sisters? It's just for the basic concept. وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. So that we're supposed to be encouraging each other in doing what is right. Now, for instance, let me guys give you this scenario. Let's say someone who is a fasiq or asi, so a sinner. Chances are, if you give this guy $50, what is the most likelihood that this guy is going to utilize that money to commit a sin? Like, for instance, again, let's go back into the scenario that is unfortunately now common when people around, beggars in the streets or in traffic lights. And I've seen this so many times. Again, I'm not saying all of them are like this, but a lot of them are like that. That you give them money, and he goes and he buy alcohol with it and come back. So, so technically, it's like as you're helping them by encourage them to do the haram. So no, if someone is a asi, you don't give them money, because now possibly whatever money that you give them, you might be encouraging them to commit their sins, and that's obviously something that we are and not doing. And actually, in the contrary, we're supposed to be, in Islam, we're supposed to be searching for those who deserve it. يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء من التعفف, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah. And those who are not begging, people who are, they're shy from asking, those who have taqwa, those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those, if you tell them, and if you try to give them, they said, Wallahi, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have given us, and we don't need these. If you find somebody like this, buy grab him, snatch him. This is the guy, and you have to beg them to take your money. If you find something like this, this is a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given you. So they're rare, and don't get me wrong, they're rare, but if you find somebody like this, wallahi, it's an honor, wallahi, it's an honor for you to give them sadaqah or zakah. It's an honor. So it's important, brothers and sisters, that we don't, sadaqah or zakah is an amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given you this amana, this trust. People nowadays are lazy, like, oh, okay, he deserves it, give it to him. Again, the problem here, brothers and sisters, people are in between the two extremes. The extreme of they do zero investigation. They just want to get rid of it for the sake of, like they said, so they can say, I have done it. Or some people, like for instance, they have like a list of questionnaire and they super investigate a list that's long. Nah, this is wrong and this is wrong. Something in between. You're supposed to do some sort of questioning, some sort of investigating to know whether the guy in front of you deserves it or not. Yeah, but you shouldn't be try to act like Sherlock Holmes. But the point here is that you investigate so you could see the best candidate that you're supposed to be giving what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given you to them. And again, you are not, for the thousandth time, you are not showing favors on them. No, Allah, you're supposed to be thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He have given you that opportunity. Okay. So the third type of people, you're not supposed to be giving a fasiq or somebody who is a sinner or money. Okay. The fourth type of people that you're obligated to spend on. Very important. Who are the people that you're obligated to spend on? Like, for instance, your wife, your parents, your son. Okay. Now, like, because some people they're like, oh, I'm gonna give zakah to my poor wife. Yeah, sheikh, I'm gonna give zakah to my parents. Allahi, shame on you. You give zakat to your parents. These people, they're supposed to, they own you. They own you, and you own your house and own your family, and you give them zakat. Wallahi, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So people that you're obligated to spend on, you give them. You're not supposed to give them zakat. These are you're obligated to spend money on them and get and suffice everything that they have. You know, if your father and mother ask for your eyes, you give them whatever they need. Wallahi, if they ask, if you ask for all your wealth, you give them whatever they need. You know. But the point here, brothers and sisters, that don't try to play with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's religion. Oh, I'm going to give zakat to my son because I don't want to give it to a stranger. No, that does not work. This, you're obligated to spend your the money on. And who are they? Like, for instance, like I said, your wife, your parents, your grandparents, um, your children, and the children of your children. Okay, all these are your some people that you're obligated to spend on. Okay, this is the fourth type of people. The fifth type of people is the people who are what? This is not really applicable to our time now. This, if you have a slave, you don't give zakat to your slave. Why? Because your slave is the individual property, and that does not apply here. The last set of people that you're not supposed to give zakat to is al-Nabi. Al-Nabi, the family of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that shows, and that in itself, brothers and sisters, shows, and I could make an argument that proves that Islam is the haqq. Why is that? Because, brothers and sisters, if Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have taken advantage of his position, and would have taken advantage of his status, he would have said, "Yeah, give me more money." No, but he made it forbidden on himself. He made it forbidden on himself to take money, and for his family. So the family of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Nabi, you're not supposed to give them zakah. You can give them gifts, but you're not supposed to give them zakah, because here, who do we give zakat to? From the higher to the lower, right? And we're not supposed to be treating them as a lower. We don't want them to be lower. No, these people are honorable people. These people what are considered to be honorable people, and we're not supposed to be giving them zakah. The people of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his descendant, al-Nabi. Okay, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إنها لا تحل لآل النبي إنما هي أوساخ الناس. These things are not supposed to be given to the people of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because this is the dirt of the people. The dirt. The money is considered to be the dirt of this dunya. So to honor them, we don't give them zakah. Okay. Now I'm going to be talking about the last form of zakah, and I'm going to go through it very quickly, inshallah, which we call Zakat al Fitir. Zakat al Fitir. Zakat al Fitr, by definition, as Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this Ibn Abbas, he narrated this to us. He said, فرض رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم زكاة الفطر طهرة للصائم من اللغو والرفث وطعمة للمسكين من أدائها قبل الصلاة فهي زكاة مقبولة. So he said, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam have ordained on us to give zakah, which is zakat al fitr, why? To purify the fasting individual, and to feed the miskin, or the poor people. Okay, and we're supposed to do it. We're supposed to do it before Salatul Eid. Okay, so what is the ruling? So what is zakat al fitr? It is zakat that we give as Muslims at the end of Ramadan, at the end of the month of Ramadan. Okay. And there is distinctions between zakat al-fitr and zakat al-mal. Okay. Zakat al-mal both of them, we give them once a year. Zakat al-mal, the zakat we just talked about, is we give it once a year, and Zakat al Fitri, we give it once a year after Ramadan. Zakat al-mal is based on wealth, right? You guys follow me? Zakat al-mal is based on what? Wealth. Zakat al Fitri, no, is obligated on everyone. As if you have food, then you're able to give Zakat al Fitr. Okay? Zakat al-mal, you give it with money, right? 2.5%. Or if you're given, we talked about in the past whether someone have a crop or whether have animals, or that's different. But generally speaking, you give it 2.5% of your wealth. Zakat al-Fitri is you give it what? As food. As food. And that's the distinctions between Zakat al-Mal and Zakat al-Fitr. Any questions before I move forward? Somebody, I think somebody, he said, Master Gamer, you have a question? Post your questions if you have a question. Now, what is the ruling of Zakat al-Fitr? Is it an obligation? Yes, it's واجبة. Zakat al-Fitr واجبة على كل مسلم. Okay? As long as they are able to eat. If they have money to feed themselves until tomorrow, it's obligated on them. Okay? And you give that, and we're going to talk about. So what is the hikmah, the wisdom behind it? The hikmah behind it is that what? It purify the fasting individual. Second, it gives, if it feeds the needy individuals. Okay? And it's a way for us, thirdly, it's a way for us to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ni'am that He has given us. Okay? Who's supposed to give it? Like I said, على كل حر مسلم مالك لما يزيد من قوته وقوت عياله يوما. Anybody. Look at the who's supposed to give zakat al-fitr. Anyone who have money to feed himself for a family for a day or so, it is an obligation for him to give zakat al-fitr. Okay? Now, how much we give zakat al-fitr? Okay? And what type? We like I said, it's supposed to be given in food. And the scholars, they said, it's food what is common in the country. Like, for instance, some people who are common to plant rice, some people or tamar, dates, or sha'ir, or dhura, corn. So whatever is common. Like, for instance, here in Ohio, in where we live, and it's very common people to plant corn. So it's possibly people you could utilize corn or whatever people would need. Okay, and you're supposed to give from each individual sa'. Okay, sa' is what, like about 2 kilos or about 4 pounds of that per individual. Like, for instance, if you have a family of 5, you give 5 times 4, so 4 pounds. It's will be about what 5 times 4, about 20 pounds of that. Okay. All right. Are you allowed to give its value? No. Even though some scholars have said it's okay, but we go with the fiqh, where it's better to only give it in money. Why? Because some people are in need of food rather than. What about if you can't give it? What about if you can't find someone here who are in need of these things? You can send it back home. Send the money. You could send the money to someone like a relief organization who could buy these foods in your behalf and distribute them. It's allowed to do that. And I think that's the better option for us, especially for those who are living in the West. Okay. When are you supposed to give it? The best time to give it as well, between Fajr, of the day of Eid, between Fajr and the day of Eid, until Salat al-Eid. After Salat al-Eid, you're not supposed to give it. From Fajr of the day of the Eid, Eid al-Fitr, until Salat al-Eid. Okay? After Salat al-Eid, you're not allowed. When this is the best time to give it? When is it okay to give? A day before, a day or two before Eid. like the last 2 days during the month of Ramadan, you're allowed. It's okay to give it. But what is better? Between Fajr until Salat al-Eid in the day. Okay? Who do we give it to? People who are in need. People who are in need. And inshallah, we finish with this. Yani um, the last chapter of what the Kitabu Az-Zakah, the book of Zakah. Any questions or or anything or any other comments? خير إن شاء الله. جزاكم الله خير. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all of you. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of you. جزاكم الله خير. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.